Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about fear, not the kind that keeps you safe, but the kind that keeps you small. The fear that whispers, what if I fail? And worse, the fear that stops you from even trying. But here's the truth, fear is a story. It's a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. So how do you live a fearless life? How do you step into each day with confidence, purpose, and strength? It starts with a strategy, not hope, not luck, a strategy. Your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant will grow. If you plant seeds of doubt, hesitation, and fear, don't be surprised when that's what fills your life. But if you plant seeds of confidence, knowledge, and vision, you'll harvest a life of strength and success. The challenge is this: most people don't protect their minds. They let anything in negative news, gossip, self-doubt without realizing that the mind absorbs everything like soil absorbs water. And just like weeds don't need permission to grow, fear doesn't need an invitation. If you're not intentional about what you put into your mind, fear and uncertainty will take root. So what's the solution? You must take control of what you feed your mind. Read books that challenge you to grow. Listen to voices that inspire and empower you. Surround yourself with ideas that stretch your thinking. When you do this consistently, something amazing happens. Fear begins to fade because knowledge takes its place. Doubt loses its grip because clarity steps in. The more you learn, the more confidence you gain. And here's something even more powerful. You must not just feed your mind, but also guard it. And don't let just anyone speak into your life. Don't absorb every negative story or opinion. Be selective, because your mind is valuable real estate. The more you guard it, the stronger it becomes. And a strong mind makes fear weak. When you make this a habit, life changes. Suddenly, the things that used to scare you no longer have the same power. The challenges that once seemed overwhelming become opportunities. Why? Because you trained your mind to think differently. You replace fear with wisdom, doubt with action, and hesitation with confidence. And when your mind is strong, there's no limit to what you can achieve. One of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is the power of decision, the decision to set your own standards. Most people drift through life adjusting to whatever comes their way, settling for whatever is handed to them. But if you don't define your standards, life will define them for you. And more often than not, that means settling for less than you're capable of. Think about it. A person without standards is like a ship without a rudder. They go wherever the wind takes them, living by circumstances instead of by choice. They accept whatever job pays the bills, whatever relationships happen to come their way, whatever level of health, success, or happiness appears by chance. But those who live with intention don't operate that way. They decide in advance what they will and won't accept in their lives. Setting standards means drawing a line in the sand, saying, this is who I am. This is what I expect. And this is what I refuse to tolerate. It means setting clear rules for yourself, how you spend your time, how you treat yourself, how you allow others to treat you. And when you set those standards high, something incredible happens. The world begins to adjust to you instead of you adjusting to the world. When you define your standards, decisions become easier. There's no more hesitation, no more back and forth, no more wondering what to do. When you know your values, your principles, and what you stand for, the right path becomes obvious. Fear loses its grip because clarity removes confusion. But here's the key: setting high standards isn't enough. You have to live by them. That means enforcing them even when it's inconvenient. It means not lowering them just because others won't rise to meet them. It means having the courage to walk away from situations, habits, and even people that don't align with the life you've committed to. Because here's the truth: the world respects people who respect themselves. When you raise your standards, life rises to meet you. Opportunities appear, better relationships form, your confidence grows, and most importantly, fear fades, because when you're clear on who you are, there's no room for doubt. Courage isn't something you wake up with one morning fully formed and unshakable. No, courage is built like anything else, one step at a time. Most people think they have to wait until they feel fearless before they take action. But that's the wrong order. You don't wait for confidence to act. You act, and then confidence follows. Fear grows in hesitation. The longer you wait, the bigger the fear becomes. But when you take even the smallest step forward, something powerful happens. The fear starts to shrink. Because now, instead of thinking about what could go wrong, you're proving to yourself that you can move forward. That's the secret. It's not about giant leaps. It's about consistent movement in the right direction. Think of it like climbing a staircase. If you stand at the bottom staring at the top, it might seem impossible. But if you focus on just the next step, suddenly it's doable. Then the next step, then the next. And before you know it, you're halfway up, looking down at how far you've come. That's how progress works. The key is to take steps that are small but certain. What does that mean? It means doing things you know you can do, things that stretch you just a little beyond your comfort zone. If you want to get in shape, start with a short walk instead of trying to run 10 miles on the first day. If you want to start a business, make one phone call, send one email, learn one skill. Don't try to build the whole thing overnight. Small steps build momentum, and momentum is the enemy of fear. When you start moving, you stop overthinking. When you see progress, even in tiny ways, you start believing in yourself. And when you believe in yourself, nothing can stop you. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel 100% ready. Just take one step, then another, and another. Because the person who keeps moving forward, even in small steps, will always go further than the one who waits for courage to come first. Failure is one of the most misunderstood concepts in life. Most people fear it. They avoid it. They see it as a sign that they aren't good enough, smart enough, or capable enough. But let me tell you something, failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of success. It's the price you pay for progress. If you study the stories of the most successful people in history, you'll notice a pattern. None of them avoided failure. In fact, most of them failed more times than the average person ever tried. The difference, they didn't see failure as defeat. They saw it as feedback. Every setback was a lesson. Every mistake was a teacher. Every time they fell, they got back up with more knowledge, more experience, and more strength. That's the mindset you need to develop. Instead of seeing failure as something to be ashamed of, see it as proof that you're in the game. The only people who never fail are the ones who never try. And the person who never tries may avoid failure, but they also avoid growth, opportunity, and success. Think about a child learning to walk. When they take their first steps and fall, do they give up? And of course not. They keep getting up, adjusting, trying again until one day they don't fall anymore. And that's the natural process of learning. But as adults, we forget this. We make one attempt, stumble, and suddenly decide, maybe I'm not cut out for this. That's the wrong perspective. The only difference between a person who succeeds and a person who doesn't is the willingness to get up one more time. Now, this doesn't mean failure is fun. It can be frustrating. It can be discouraging. But the key is to control what you focus on. Instead of dwelling on the disappointment, ask yourself, what can I learn? How can I improve? What will I do differently next time? If you ask the right questions, failure becomes a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. So, if you failed recently, congratulations, you're making progress. The real failure isn't falling down, it's refusing to get back up. Success isn't about avoiding mistakes, it's about learning, adjusting, and persisting until you get it right. Change your perspective on failure and you'll never fear it again. Success favors the prepared. It's as simple as that. Too many people walk through life hoping things will work out, wishing for opportunities, waiting for the right moment. But when the opportunity comes, they're not ready. And that's the difference between those who succeed and those who struggle. Preparation. Preparation is what separates confidence from fear. When you're unprepared, you hesitate. You second guess yourself. You shrink back when challenges arise because deep down you know you're not ready. But when you've put in the time, when you've done the work, when you've studied, practiced, and sharpened your skills, fear has no place. Instead of worrying, you move forward with certainty. Instead of hoping, you expect results. Think of a great athlete. They don't show up on game day and hope for the best. No, they've trained for weeks, months, even years for that moment. They've rehearsed every move, studied their competition, strengthened the weaknesses. By the time they step onto the field, they already know what to do. That's what preparation does. It removes the fear of the unknown and replaces it with confidence. The same principle applies to every area of life. Want to be a great speaker? Don't just wing it, study, practice, refine. You want to succeed in business? Don't just start blindly, learn, strategize, anticipate challenges before they come. Even in relationships, preparation matters. If you want to be a better partner, a better leader, a better friend, you have to prepare by growing, learning, and understanding people. And here's the key: preparation isn't just about skills, it's about mindset. If you prepare your mind for challenges, they won't shake you. If you prepare your emotions for setbacks, they won't break you. If you prepare your habits for success, you'll move forward naturally. Some people say, I'll prepare when the opportunity comes, but that's the wrong approach. The opportunity won't wait for you to get ready. You must be ready before it arrives. When you stay prepared, you don't have to get prepared. And that's when life starts to open doors for you that others only dream about. You can't build a strong life with weak people around you. Who you spend time with will shape your mindset, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. If you surround yourself with people who complain, doubt, and make excuses, it won't be long before you start thinking the same way. But if you surround yourself with people who challenge you, inspire you, and push you to be better, you'll rise to a whole new level. The truth is, we become like the people we associate with. Their attitudes, their beliefs, their expectations, whether good or bad, rub off on us. That's why you have to be intentional about your inner circle. You can't afford to let just anyone have influence over your life. Take a look at the people around you. Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they encouraging you to grow or keeping you stuck? Are they focused on solutions or always dwelling on problems? If the people around you are constantly negative, unmotivated, or stuck in the past, That energy will start to affect you. But when you're surrounded by people who are driven, focused, and disciplined, their mindset becomes contagious. Now, building the right inner circle doesn't mean cutting everyone out of your life, but it does mean prioritizing the voices that push you toward your best self. You need people who will hold you accountable, who will challenge your excuses, who will remind you of your potential when you forget it yourself. You need people who are already where you want to be so you can learn from their example. And here's something important. Your inner circle should not only be made up of people who support you, but also people who challenge you. Growth doesn't come from comfort. You need people who will push you to think bigger, act smarter, and live with greater discipline. You need people who won't just tell you what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So choose wisely. The right people will elevate your life. The wrong people will drain it. And if you want to go far, you can't afford to carry dead weight. Surround yourself with winners and you'll start winning. Build an inner circle of strength and fear will have no place in your life. What you believe about yourself shapes everything in your life. Your actions, your decisions, your success, they all start with your belief system. If you believe you're capable, you'll act with confidence. If you believe you're limited, you'll hesitate, doubt, and hold yourself back. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle isn't just talent or luck, it's what they believe is possible for them. The challenge is most people don't build their beliefs intentionally. They inherit them. From childhood, they absorb beliefs from parents, teachers, society, some empowering, some limiting. Over time, these beliefs become the lens through which they see the world. If someone believes they're not good enough, smart enough, or lucky enough, that belief controls their life more than any real obstacle ever could. But here's the truth. Your beliefs are not permanent. They can be strengthened, reshaped, and upgraded. You can choose to believe in yourself at a higher level. You can train your mind to expect success instead of doubt. And when you do, your results will follow. It starts with awareness. You have to recognize the beliefs that are holding you back. Pay attention to the words you tell yourself. Do you say, I'm not that kind of person, or I've never been good at that? Those aren't facts, they're just beliefs. Beliefs can be changed. The key is to replace weak beliefs with strong ones. Instead of saying, I don't know how, say, I can learn. Instead of saying, I'm not confident, say, I'm growing in confidence every day. It may feel small, but those shifts make all the difference. And here's something powerful. Your belief system is strengthened by evidence. The more you take action, the more proof you create that you're capable. Every small win reinforces confidence. Every challenge you overcome rewires your mind for success. That's why it's so important to step outside your comfort zone. When you push yourself, even in small ways, you send a message to your mind, I can do this. And that message becomes the foundation of an unstoppable belief system. Be careful who and what you listen to. Your mind is always absorbing information, and if you're not careful, you'll allow negativity to shape your beliefs. Instead, surround yourself with voices that build you up. Read and learn and study people who have already done what you want to do. Let their experiences strengthen your faith in what's possible. Because here's the truth, your life will never rise higher than your belief system. If you believe in your potential, you'll take action. If you take action, you'll see results. And once you see results, your belief will get even stronger. That's how success works. It starts on the inside. Strengthen your belief system, and you'll strengthen your future. Fear is natural. Everyone feels it. The question isn't whether fear will show up, it will. The real question is, what do you do when it comes? Most people see fear as a stop sign, a reason to turn back. They assume that if they feel afraid, it means they're not ready, not capable, or that something is wrong. But that's the wrong perspective. Fear isn't a stop sign, it's a signal. A signal that you're stepping into new territory, stretching beyond your comfort zone, growing into the person you're meant to be. Think about it. When does fear show up the most? When you're about to do something important. When you're about to take a risk. When you're standing at the edge of something bigger than what you've known before. That's not a sign to quit, it's a sign to move forward. Because just beyond that fear is where your growth happens. Fear doesn't mean you should stop. It means you should prepare. It means you should focus. It means you should step forward with awareness, not hesitation. The best performers in the world, athletes, speakers, entrepreneurs, they all feel fear. But they don't let it control them. Instead, they use it. They take that energy, that nervousness, and turn it into fuel. They channel it into preparation, into effort, into action. And here's something powerful. The moment you face fear, it loses its power. The things we're afraid of are never as big as they seem. The hardest part is the anticipation, the worrying, the overthinking. But once you take action, once you step forward, you realize that fear was just a shadow, not a real obstacle. The people who succeed aren't the ones who never feel afraid. They're the ones who have trained themselves to keep moving even when they do. They've learned to reframe fear not as something to avoid, but as something to listen to. If you fear something, it means there's potential growth there. It means there's an opportunity waiting on the other side. So the next time fear shows up, don't turn away, don't freeze. Instead, ask your side, What is this fear telling me? What opportunity is hidden behind it? Then, take a step forward. Even a small step will begin to dissolve the fear, because action is the antidote to fear. The more you move, the less fear controls you. And before long, you'll realize that fear was never the enemy, it was just the gatekeeper to your next level of success. Your body and mind are connected in ways most people don't fully understand. When your body is weak, your mind struggles. When your body is tired, your focus drifts. When your body is neglected, your confidence suffers. But when you take care of your body, when you build strength, energy, and endurance, something powerful happens, your mind follows. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how much sharper you feel after a good workout? How much more confident you stand when your body is in shape? That's not a coincidence. Physical strength builds mental strength. The discipline it takes to train your body spills over into every other area of your life. If you can push yourself to run that extra mile, to lift that extra weight, to stick to that routine, guess what? You can push yourself to make that tough decision, to handle that difficult conversation, to keep going when things get hard. Because life is demanding, it requires endurance. And the person who takes care of their body will always have the advantage over the person who doesn't. When your body is strong, you have more energy to pursue your goals. When your body is healthy, you think more clearly, act more decisively, and move through life with confidence. And that confidence spills over into everything. You walk differently. You speak differently. You carry yourself with a presence that commands respect. But strength isn't just about muscle. It's about energy. It's about taking care of the machine that carries you through life. That means fueling it right, eating foods that energize you, not drain you. It means getting enough rest, because a tired mind is an unproductive mind. It means moving your body every day, because movement keeps your mind sharp, your emotions balanced, and your spirit strong. And here's something important. When you build physical discipline, you build life discipline. The person who can wake up early to exercise is the same person who can wake up early to study, to plan, to work on their dreams. The person who can say no to unhealthy habits is the same person who can say no to distractions, to negativity, to the things that pull them away from their goals. So don't think of exercise as just something you should do. Think of it as a tool for success. Because when you strengthen your body, you're not just building muscle, you're building resilience, discipline, and a mindset that refuses to quit. And that mindset will take you further than anything else in life. Fearlessness isn't something you're born with. It's something you practice every single day. Most people think that fearlessness is a trait some people have and others don't. But that's simply not true. Fear is universal. Every successful person, every leader, every person who's achieved something significant has experienced fear. The difference is that they've trained themselves to face it, to act in spite of it, and to use it as fuel rather than as a barrier. The key to fearlessness is in how you approach the moments when fear shows up. Because it will show up, it always does. But instead of letting it control you, you need to make a decision. Will I act, or will I let fear dictate my life? The more you make the decision to act, the stronger your fearlessness becomes. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more it grows. When you practice fearlessness, you start to recognize that fear is often a signal that you're doing something right. When you step outside your comfort zone, when you push yourself to try something new, fear is a natural reaction. But rather than running from it, you lean into it. You understand that fear doesn't mean stop, it means go. Fear tells you you're on the edge of something new, something that could change your life. And the more you practice fearlessness, the more you realize that fear is rarely as big as you think. We spend so much time imagining the worst case scenario, but when we finally face our fears, we discover that it wasn't nearly as intimidating as we made it out to be. Every time you act in spite of fear, you chip away at its power. You prove to yourself that you're capable, that you can handle uncertainty, that you can step into discomfort and still thrive. Fearlessness doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you don't let it control you. It means you refuse to let fear stop you from doing what you know is important. And the more you make it a daily practice, the more natural it becomes. Every small decision to act in the face of fear strengthens your character and your resolve. It builds the belief that no matter what comes your way, you can handle it. So start practicing fearlessness today. Take one small step towards something you're afraid of. It doesn't have to be a giant leap, just a step. And when you do, you'll realize that the fear you once feared has no power over you anymore. The more you make fearlessness a part of your daily life, the more you'll discover that nothing is truly impossible. Fear isn't the enemy. In fact, it's your greatest ally on the path to success. Your mind is like a garden. If you don't tend to it, if you don't plant the right seeds, it will become overrun with weeds, negative thoughts, doubts, distractions, and fears. If you want to live a successful, fulfilling life, you need to feed your mind daily. You need to nurture it with positive ideas, new information, and inspiring thoughts. The best way to feed your mind is with knowledge. Every day you should be reading, listening, or watching something that expands your thinking, something that challenges you to grow. This doesn't mean just consuming any content. It means choosing material that feeds your ambition, enhances your skills, and opens your mind to new possibilities. If you're not feeding your mind with the right information, you're allowing your mind to stagnate. And a stagnant mind won't create the life you want. Think about your goals, the vision you have for your future. Can you achieve that vision with the knowledge and mindset you have right now? Probably not. And that's why you must commit to daily growth. The most successful people I know never stop learning. They understand that the key to success is not just hard work, it's continuous learning. This doesn't mean you have to spend hours every day. Even 30 minutes a day can make a huge difference. But that 30 minutes should be intentional. Read a book that sharpens your skills. Listen to a podcast that opens your mind. Watch a video that pushes you to think differently. Over time, these small doses of growth compound into massive transformation. But don't just feed your mind with knowledge, feed it with the right mindset. Pay attention to the thoughts you allow to take root in your mind. If you're constantly dwelling on negative news, gossip, or pessimism, that's what you're feeding your mind. Instead, focus on content that inspires you, motivates you, and reminds you of your potential. You've got to be selective about the inputs you allow into your life. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. Seek out mentors who challenge you. Spend time with those who push you to be better. Because your environment shapes your thinking, and when you feed your mind daily with the right information, ideas, and influences, you'll start to see your world shift in powerful ways. Remember, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your thinking. If you want to improve your life, you must improve your mind. Make it a daily habit to feed your mind the kind of knowledge and inspiration that will elevate you. And before long, you'll see the results in everything you do, your confidence, your decisions, your relationships, and your success. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of clear, deliberate choices, and the most important choice you can make is setting standards for your life. What do you expect from yourself? What kind of person do you want to become? The answers to these questions will determine your future. Standards are the invisible boundaries you set for your life. They're the expectations you have for yourself in every area, your career, your health, your relationships, and your personal growth. Without clear standards, you're left to wander, hoping things will work out. But that's not how success is built. Success is built on a foundation of clear, non-negotiable standards. If you want to live an extraordinary life, you have to decide to hold yourself to a higher standard. What does that look like? It means not accepting mediocrity, not allowing excuses, and refusing to settle for anything less than your best. It means demanding more from yourself in every moment, whether you're working, exercising, or interacting with others. The key is consistency. A standard is not something you live by on occasion, it's something you live by every day. If you set a standard for your health, it means eating right, exercising, and getting enough rest every day, not just when you feel like it. If you set a standard for your work, it means showing up early, putting in the effort, and always striving to do your best, no matter what the circumstances are. Your standards are your guiding principles, the measures by which you evaluate your actions and decisions. And here's the power of setting clear standards. When you raise your standards, everything else has to rise to meet them. When you expect more from yourself, you start doing more. You stop settling for less. You stop tolerating mediocrity. You start attracting the kind of people, opportunities, and experiences that match your elevated standards. But don't just set high standards for your actions, set them for your mindset too. Decide that you will no longer tolerate negative thinking, self-doubt, or fear. Commit to cultivating a mindset that expects success, that believes in your potential, and that takes responsibility for your life. When you make this a non-negotiable standard, everything in your life begins to shift. Your standards will determine your results. If you hold yourself to a high standard of excellence, you will inevitably perform at a higher level. If you hold yourself to a low standard, don't be surprised when your results fall short. The most successful people in the world aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the ones who set high standards for themselves and refuse to settle for anything less than their best. So take a moment and ask yourself, what standards are you setting for your life? Are they clear? Are they high? Are they non-negotiable? The standards you set today will shape the person you become tomorrow. Raise your standards and you'll raise your life to a whole new level.